So team one, could you go ready? The team one was actually located in Aalborg, so they came all the way here 2 days ago, actually. And you traveled a lot. I mean, we really put you through a lot of travels back and forth from Aalborg. And even though it's still in Denmark, it's quite a trip. So just big thanks for doing that, and also for the ones joining the team from Copenhagen and Aalborg, actually. Thank you for relocating as well as part of the Edu team. That really meant a lot. So I would like to present Team 1. Give them a big hand.
Hello, everyone. Least but not last, we are Half Home Games, and we are very proud to present to you Skybound. Get the rest of the team up.
Yes.
Did I tell you? My mentor is a great archaeologist. I've seen so many of these places and don't feel any closer to figuring out what they were used for. Not that a simple lesson will get me up that mountain. They deserve to know that everything isn't just fine. I can do this.
Woo.
Hi, hello again. I'm Natasha, I'm the producer of Half Home Games, and today I'm joined on stage by my ambitious game director Joachim, my ceaseless narrative designer Mikkel, my extraordinary art director Albin, and one of my 6 game designers, an absolute unit of a technical artist, Adam. So, what is Skybound? We like to joke that it's an anger management sim, but it's more correct to say that it's a first-person exploration.
Our mic.
Or mic? Oh, it's back. Sorry. Yeah, so you play as the main character, Belle. She's a young archaeologist who's just gotten her first contract on her first solo job by this mysterious client. And he's tasked you to retrieve these ancient artifacts from the fantastical floating islands. So you use Belle's agility to move around, and because it's such a movement-focused game, our amazing programmer has put a lot of work and effort into making the movements as satisfying as possible, as you can see.
Yeah. So we have this game where it's about running and jumping and standing still the least amount possible. So the question is, how do you write a story for this? Because it's kind of easy to just give people a wall of text and a couple of text boxes, but it kind of goes against everything else in the game. Therefore, we took a couple of tries and we ended up making the story very much opt-in. And we did this by doing the classical thing of giving the main character a radio so that our colorful NPCs can talk to her while the player is doing other things. And that looks something like this.
I'm rambling, aren't I? My bad. No one other than the professor has ever said that. Thanks.
Yeah, and that's a zoomed-in version. It's not that big in the game. It's in the corner, I promise. The other thing we did was that our wonderful programmer made these very nice breakable pots. Can we show? And in some of them, we have hidden very shiny objects that, when picked up, are also story. And that way we trick people into engaging with our narrative. This way we could keep the main plot very condensed and do the world building and lore separately, so that everybody could engage as much with the story as they wanted.
So, in a game that's so focused around movement and exploration, how do we keep the exploration part interesting for the player? We started off by only having one island when we did a vertical slice demo of our game, and we quickly found that just having a single environment kind of became boring, both to design for and to play. So for the full game, or this version, we ended up making 3 visually distinct islands, and we on purpose made them as visually different as possible, such that each island could feel like a unique experience. These differences were achieved through unique color palettes, biomes, terrains, stuff like that. And to invoke a kind of sense of like childlike wonder in this kind of game, we opted for a cel-shaded art style, achieved through some custom shaders, which really lets each island's individual color palette come to life and speak for itself. And it also makes the game a bit more visually cohesive. So a lush forest island like this one and a gloomy, creepy island like this one still looks like they belong in the same universe.
All right, so the entire team has been working very hard to make it very explorable and very fun. But now we also need to make the game feel fun. And how do we do that? We juiced it the hell out of it. The first thing we did was focus on the grappling. As you can see here, we have the speed lines, we got the effect when you hit something, and we also got a lot of awesome sound effects when you do it. This made the game feel awesome to play, and combined with that, you want to explore. Everything you see right now in the video and on all the islands you can go to, you can explore. There's something to do, something to collect, which also encourages the player to go around, see what's happening. It doesn't have to be linear. You can choose your own path. You can do whatever you want. And when you mastered this, you do the grappling and you use your momentum, your speed boost. It can look something like a bit in the bottom, if I'm not too much in the way, where you speed around, you have a lot of fun, you feel in the zone, you're immersed. And to help this, we actually also use the audio. Our composer, Lasse, he's done a very great job at immersing everyone to the islands. Instead of just having one soundtrack for each island, he made an evolving soundtrack for each island, where you start in an area with one soundtrack, and then as you play through, you find interesting areas. They have different soundtracks, more evolving soundtracks, to kind of immerse the player and tell them, yeah, you're on the right path, you're doing something well. It can sound something like this in the beginning, and then it can evolve into this when you're on the island. And then at the end, when you're running back because you got the artifact and everything's falling apart and you're Indiana Jones, it can sound something like this. Yeah. And to help this, hopefully this immerses the player, but also we focused a lot on the core actions of the things the player do. So sound effects on the movement, on the jumping, on the grappling hook, on hitting stuff, on just running around on the surfaces. All these sound effects keep the player immersed, which we think we did well with. And you can all just try it yourself because it's kind of cool. Now I'll hand it over to my technical artist.
Hello. So I want to talk about briefly about the technical challenge of having too many cooks in the kitchen, and how we took it as an opportunity and give our level designers a little bit more freedom. So we came up with a multi-scene level loading system. I think it will work quite well for us. We created these 3 awesome levels full of hidden secrets and hidden paths and exploration. So how it works, it's basically just scriptable objects having a list of scenes that are loaded additively on top of each other. Our content is decomposed into layers like a cake. So we start with the terrain, then we add the vegetation, then we add the obstacles and the narrative, and etc. etc. It made this very easy to iterate and very prone to merge conflicts. It's also very scalable. We can start just with one single scene and add more as we need. And I think it helped us create a great game, which you can play at our table. Please give us feedback, and that's it for our presentation. Thank you for your attention.
We've been practicing. Well done. Joachim, I think actually I remember you from when we visited ITU in the spring doing the information meeting, and we were like saying, we were like making a little advertisement for like, we need people to go to Aalborg. We kind of knew already, and you were like, hey, you saw it as an opportunity. Can you tell me the story about the name for your studio?
Yeah, so the name is because, as you said, we are in Aalborg, and a lot of us are not home at Aalborg. Around half the team is, so essentially it started with, hey, half is only at home, and that's half home games. But it grew into something way more, because we all came from, like, got driven out of our old environment, and we were forced to become very good friends, and to make it all work, which was awesome. And we all we're the smallest team, so we also got a big bond out of that, which is awesome. Yeah, and I think that's why we also managed to do so well, because everyone wanted to make this game, and everyone was very good friends. So yeah.
Great, thank you so much. Mikkel, Team 1 is quite different from the other teams this year. You have a special superpower, because 6 out of 11 team members were given the role of game designer. That's what everybody wanted to do. But to help you along a little bit, not stepping on each other's toes too much, I gave all of the game designers a little extra role based on your applications. And Mikkel, you became the narrative game designer. And you kind of had to figure out on your own what that means. But maybe you can tell us a little bit about working with I don't know, game design from a narrative angle, or working with narratives from a game design angle.
Yeah, I think like what I realized very quickly was that most people wanted there to be narrative in the game, but we disagreed very much on how much narrative was too much. So I think my job was writing that line of when does the narrative begin to take away from the game, and when does it support the game. And I think when the example with choosing that Bill is an archaeologist is one example of that, where we try to figure out how can we incentivize this whole idea of exploration in the game, in the gameplay, in the narrative also. And from that, because archaeology is exploration and searching for truth and deeper meaning and stuff like that, and putting pieces together, we naturally it followed that we could use these pods, and because we needed other things for the player to do while they weren't jumping, and that fit very well together with what the problem with not having time to explain the the world building and stuff like that.
Thank you. Adam? I see you as a little bit of a Swiss Army knife of game development. You have multiple skills, and I think everyone was really happy when you agreed to move to Aalborg from Prague. And I think you are also a symbol of how well this team has collaborated. You have had very, very fluid roles, and you worked very close together, and everyone has had more than one role. I just thought it would be fun if you just list the different tasks you've been involved in.
Yeah, I want to say, like, I was not the only one who had more than one role. We had like a very open office, and everyone worked on these features and asked others if they have problem. Yeah, but I was sort of like in the middle of it and tried to help as much as possible. So I would start with the game design, then the level design, then I did the shaders for Albin. Then I did the environmental art as well, and some of the animations, and a little bit of coding as well. And finally, I created the guitar solo for the soundtrack.
Thank you. Natasha? we were lucky to have a producer on the Aalborg team who was actually at home in Aalborg, and I think it's been very good for the team to have you. But you are also an accomplished 2D artist, and you've been working on a lot of the illustrations and the drawings and UI. How did you juggle these two very, very different roles?
It's definitely a struggle to shift from the very narrow-minded art to a broad focus as a producer. Mostly I was helped by having a very hardworking team and a lovely game director who could shoulder some of that pressure of making sure everyone is having a great time and no problems are occurring.
Okay, thank you. Albin, you and me had to negotiate a little bit before you accepted the role of art director because you also wanted to be a game designer. But look at the visuals you created in this huge game, and with these like very, very different worlds. It's beautiful. How do you think it has influenced you as an artist to learn the processes of an art director?
As an artist, it's it's been difficult to learn because when you usually do art, you just do it by yourself. But when you're art directing a bigger project, you have, I mean, as you said, we have 6 game designers, and sometimes the game designers were like, hey, look at this level I spent 3 days on, and you come over and you're like, okay, how am I gonna fit this into like a cohesive game? So it's not just laser beams and graveyards and yeah, so it's different being an art director rather than just making stuff yourself. You have to like work with other pieces and put it together like a puzzle in a way. And that's been kind of fun.
That's been kind of fun. Thank you. You did well. Thank you. That's it. Team 1.